Dear SOT, Bible school this year has been so different from what I expected. I heard so many great stories about being in SOT. I was really looking forward to the morning praise and worship, theological lessons, ministry training, and getting to know my teammates face to face. But everything changed when the pandemic hit.
God has been calling me to sign up for SOT over the last 9 years. I finally took a step of faith to come this year, but the sudden COVID-19 crisis brought so much uncertainty and stress. I was worried for the health and safety of my family every day. I had to make sure my boys could adjust to home-based learning. I also had to manage my business every month because I am the sole breadwinner of my family. I had no idea how we would cope through these difficult times.
Coming to SOT has been a great sacrifice, not just for me, but for my whole family. I left my loved ones, my ministry, and my home church back in India. My parents even sold their possessions to raise funds for me. When this pandemic happened, I was so anxious about how everyone back home were coping and if they were safe. I miss them so much and they were very worried for me.
ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ జరుగుతున్నాయా? అసలు ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేయలేదురా ఇలా అవుతుందని. చాలా వరీ అవుతున్నావు నీ గురించి. ఎప్పటి వరకు ఈ పరిస్థితులు ఇలా ఉంటాయో?
I felt so isolated, alone and confined to my dorm room. I struggled to cope with all the changes and the mundane online school routine. Did I sacrifice so much just to attend online classes? I felt depressed. I put on so much pressure on myself with my own expectations. Sometimes I even wondered why I was alive. I told myself, God is not thinking about me. I'm in the wrong place. SOT is not for me.
I left my job by faith to come to SOT. But because of the pandemic, my husband had to take a pay cut and go on unpaid leave. It was so discouraging to us. So many times, I felt like dropping out of school to go back to work. In July, Pastor Bobby shared that our theme for this cohort is Against All Odds.
We have faced the most adversity, the most disruption, the most change in the entire history of our school. 2020 has been such an uncomfortable time
to be in SOT. But God is still moving among us and through us. Students are still preaching and prophesying the word of God. People are still getting healed. In fact, we are even more hungry for more of Him, against all odds. I decided not to quit. I chose to believe that God would come through for me in the area I struggled with the most, my finances. And He began to move. I started to receive provision from different ones. I had friends who would transfer money straight to my bank account without me even knowing. My neighbors also started to cook for my husband and I. God's blessings just kept overflowing in my life. And I saw God moving in different ways within the lives of my classmates too. He was showing us that though we are in the fire, He is with us every step of the way.
Saya sebenarnya sangat menantikan mission trip SOT dengan tim saya. Tapi karena peraturan yang ketat saat pandemi, maka kami menyesuaikan diri dengan mission trip online. Sebenarnya saya merasa sedikit kecewa, tapi hanya sedikit.
မြန်မာရိတ်သိမ်းချင်းအတင်းတော်နဲ့ online အိမ်လည်သွားရောက်စဉ်တွင်နှစ်အတန်းကြာလေးဖြတ်ယောဂဝေဒနာခံစားနေရသောဒေဥဆရာတယောက်၏ဖခင်နဲ့တွေ့ခဲ့ကြပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့အဖေသားများမှသူ့ကို online ပေါ်မှာတစ်ဆင့် prophet ပြုဆုတောင်းပေးကြပါတယ်
Apa yang kami saksikan sangat menakjubkan buat saya. Kami melihat seorang pria mengangkat tangannya yang lumpuh semakin lama semakin tinggi. Lalu dia berdiri dan berjalan mengelilingi rumah tanpa kesusahan sama sekali. Ada sukacita yang luar biasa di wajahnya. Dan itu mukjizat online pertama yang saya lihat. Puji Tuhan.
ဒါဟာစီးလုံးချင်းရဲ့တကူဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဘုရားသခင်ရဲ့လက်ယုံတော်အောက်မှာယုံကြည်သူတွေရဲ့တစိတ်တဝိညာဉ်သည်လှုပ်ဆောင်ခြင်းသည်လောကသို့တည်ငောင်းကိုတည်ဆောင်ခြင်းဖြစ်သည်
One morning, as I was getting ready for class, news came that my grandfather had passed away. I was so devastated because a few months before SOT started, my grandmother had also just passed on. I didn't share with many of my teammates because I knew everyone already had a lot to deal with. But within the same day, I received a text that my team had already pulled together a grief fund and transferred it to my bank account. This gesture meant so much to me because I knew that the international students in our group had limited finances. Some of them didn't even have enough to purchase the SOT writing materials and reference books. Yet, they gathered what they could just to bless me. Thank you, Team 5, for supporting me through this challenging time.
冠状病毒的发生让我们大家都很惊讶，但是 SOT 同工们真的太了不起了。他们和教会不同的事工一起推出全新的工作坊，教导我们实用的技巧，让我们像城市网络电台、视觉传达事工、活动策划事工等学习。每一个 SOT 小组也可以在 Zoom 上面和 CHC 的牧者与区长交流。赵仁院长、信理和其他的 SOT 同工会抽出时间，透过 Zoom 或 WhatsApp 和我们建立关系。我们真的感觉到他们的爱。我自己认为今年的亮点是康牧师的问答时间，他非常坦诚地分享自己过去几年的经历，以及这些经历怎么样让他更亲近耶稣。他也挑战我们为主分别为圣，天天默想耶稣，为基督而活。感谢 SOT 的同工，即使在冠状病毒的混乱之中，依然为我们在线上创造许多宝贵的回忆。
Among all the amazing SOT staff, I am most impacted by Pastor Kinhok. I first met Pastor Kinhok on a mission trip in 2019 with my husband and 2 boys. I remember that during a ministry meeting with him, he encouraged us to be bold, to pray for the sick and to expect God to move mightily. Together with my family, we prayed for a lady who had a growth on her neck, and we saw it physically shrink right in front of our eyes. In spite of his own cancer relapse, Pastor continues to be so passionate about missions and bringing Jesus to the world. This year, even with COVID-19, Pastor Kinhok said to us that the mission must go on. His conviction for Christ completely blew me away. In one of our monthly devotions, I sensed that Pastor was going through great pain from his cancer treatment, but he didn't stop preaching.
I have many lack in my life, I have many struggle in my life, I have many imperfection in my life. But the Bible tells us there's one way to reach the place of lacking nothing, and that is to allow God to lead you through different journey of life, let your faith be tested.
He shared with us about his life experiences and his own struggles in ministry. He even extended his time with us to answer all our questions. His heart towards his students and his urgency to share the good news of Christ have daily inspired me to do missions together with my family.
Growing up in church all my life, I have always thought that serving in the ministry is spending time with God. In the past 7 months, my personal faith and dependency on God has been tested, challenged, and refined. I found security and assurance in the Word of God and gained a spiritual family here at SOT. I thought God wasn't mindful of me, but He surprised me again and again, proving that He's Jehovah Shammah, always present with me.
Through SOT, I saw God's hand over my family. When Pastor Bobby taught the Sermon on the Mount series to the class, I was pleasantly surprised that my husband and children gathered around me to listen as well. In fact, my husband went on to sign up for the weekend online Bible study. And for the first time, he also took the initiative to pray for me when I felt stressed during the exam period. And he even encouraged our children to do the same. God has shown me that we must never underestimate how He can move in our lives when we surrender all to Him.
Our lives, our actions, and our attitude all depend on the lenses of our perspective. These months in SOT has taught us to see things through God's eyes and to find peace, joy, and purpose in the situations that we are in. Against all odds, we have overcome, and here we are, about to graduate. If I had known Bible school in 2020 was going to be this different, I would still have said, "Yes, Lord, I am still willing to obey."